Hello everyone, I'm Mariah, the M of the PM.
Patricia, P
of the PM. We're doing this a little bit differently today, simply because it is a little bit different of a project. So we thought we'd take the opportunity to do a little bit different video. And that's why you're seeing our lovely faces. Although I'm not feeling very great. We've got a sickness throughout the house. So we're doing our best. Here we go. Basically, I'm going to go through kind of the intro that we're going to put up on the blog for this, just because it's good. We spent time writing it. So
a lot of time.
And
editing.
And editing. So, this will go into what we're doing here. It's the design images presented throughout the Sunset Journal Kit became our ephemera. The catalyst, the guiding force behind the layout for our first 2 pages. Thoughtful Studio has included 17 printable pages packed full of layered loveliness in the Sunset Journal Kit. Locks, doors, keys, treasure, time, flight. The images as well as the metaphorical symbolism are communicated both through the actual objects and the choice of colors. So now let's talk about how PM handled sunset. So let's just dive right in. And that's kind of how I went into it on the blog, so that's what we're going to do here as well. We're very excited about these papers. It was different for Thoughtful Studio, Marie, and definitely different from what we typically do and certainly how we do it. So kind of right off the bat, there were some key printables that leapt out at us. And Mom can talk more to why we choose those papers. We made some notes here, so I'll let her put those in front of her. So she can talk about that, and I'll kind of point things out as she's talking about those points.
Okay, basically what we look for when we're choosing a paper is, are there enough elements present to layer and creating our own sort of style as well. If it's too specific, it doesn't work. This paper is lovely because it's specific enough, it has the colors that we love, it's versatile enough that we can make necessary adjustments if we need to, which we did in this case.
Right, and so that speaks to this, and that's why I have this example right here.
Right here. Okay.
So this is the unaltered version that we used from the Sunset Kit. This is what we ended up doing. You can see that we didn't alter too much. In fact, these pieces are taken from other printables. We just went ahead and did it digitally versus like printing out a bunch of stuff, cutting it out, layering it on. So kind of did some of it pre-printing.
Yes, and that's what I would have done. I would have printed them out, cut them up, tore them up. That's.
I have other skills.
Yes.
And I want to save ink. So what I did is kind of made this into a little washi tape. So you can see here, this, actually,
you need to hold it up. They can't, I don't think they can see that.
Okay, yes, that's true. Okay, so that's the original. And then here is my altered version because I knew we were going to do a 2-page spread. And I wanted to flip it so that way there was some kind of, movement across the page. And I altered the color on this side because how all of this started out is we actually made the tags. So here is our lovely finished 2-page spread. And you can now see how things ended up with the blue and everything. But let's go ahead and take out our tags. And they are double-sided, jingle, and then I'm on one side, Mom's on the other, and then we used the camera from one of them, and then went ahead and printed out on photo paper little tiny images of ourselves and put them in the camera. I don't know if you can see that now. There we are. In the camera. That was a little bit trickier than one thinks. Obviously just scaling properly and then cutting out little tiny pieces because we didn't have anything cool to get them out exactly the same size that we needed them. But these are all elements. The camera was on one of the printables, so was the little card part, but I just used the very basic version of it. There's some other stuff behind it, and then obviously cut out the camera. We also went ahead and did versions both on card, like a heavy cardstock, and just regular text weight paper. Because I knew we were going to do cards, so that way I could use kind of some of the text weight on one side. Card was already printed on this side, and then I knew the camera needed to be a little heavier weight to just kind of stand up, and you can see it's foamed so it sticks out. It has a cool little string. And then I'll let Mom kind of talk more about all the little doodads, because she has all of this stuff in her stash.
Oh, yes.
Her collection. Her lection.
That's
what Izzy calls it. The lection.
my granddaughter. This is just like an infinitesimal example of what I really have. I've collected some of this stuff is older than Mariah, and won't go into actual years here, but a lot of this stuff is just mostly picked up at flea markets, garage sales, thrift stores, whatever. This little thing right here, and I'll hold it against Mariah so you can see the contrast here, is actually an earring part, which just never did get made into an earring. I feel very sure seeing it's 25, 30 years old, so it's in that collectible range. And a lot of the other stuff is from broken necklaces,
We could even switch the camera to top view and just get our faces off of here and let you guys see more.
I think that might work a little better, because
Let's do that.
especially on the other one, I would like to drag out some
All right.
stuff. Okay,
One
be back
second.
in a minute. Okay, we're back.
We're really gonna try not to bump the table, so hopefully
Yes.
this won't be shiggity shaky.
Mariah's talking to me because I'm a table bumper here. Okay, just a few more little pieces and parts here, because this is, when you get ready to do this, you don't know what you're going to need. So you just pull out a lot of things and try different things. We tried many things that didn't work. What you see here is what we actually ended up using, which are some lovely little, put those out to the side, coral beads from an old broken necklace that belonged to my grandmother, a lovely little brass bead, teardrop bead there, and this is I don't know, Czechoslovakian, I think. Put onto this string, which I dyed with amber, fossilized amber, because it wasn't the right color. Mariah did this little piece here, and actually she put all of these together. I just provided her with the rough materials. And the stash of embroidery thread we have that is absolutely, it's huge. I can't even tell you how much. And we can thank my sister for that. She gave me all of those. Okay, that being said there, I'll turn this over to Mariah, because I think she needs to talk about the next card, because that's more of her influence and her crafty.
Well, or should we go into the page that it went on? Let's kind of do that. I'm just going to fold this back so you're only looking at the page that it goes on. And then we'll kind of go into the other one.
Okay.
So this was the blue version, the more altered, printable. We went ahead and used some brown craft envelopes that I already had. And the nice thing was I don't know if this was meant to be or just one of those deals that it turned out this way, that I could use half of the, I believe it's an A4 envelope. So, and then just did a little bit of distressing with different sprays and inks. Used some of these markers to bring the ring up and around, because I wanted it to look like, this was done obviously after, because, you know, this would have started out all pristine and everything, but then, you know, once it was done, somebody set down their cup, and so it ended up on the little pocket as well. One of the things, or two of the things that are not in the kit, and we just went out and found images and altered them as well, are the wings. We needed that element of flight, and even though there are some bees in these printables in the Sunset collection, that didn't really, they weren't going to be the right scale, so we needed angel wings so our cards could fly.
Well, and that also speaks to, I'm turning this
Yeah.
over for a sec, the whole idea of the message, because that was what I got from the printables. Could you hold that card over here?
Yeah.
Because it's a key, you have doorways, and you can see. Mariah has reinforced that whole doorway idea with that really hard edge there. And I think it's very nice up against this organic feel of the wings and the torn paper around the edges.
Well, and even to talk to that, since Mom pointed it out, I don't know if I should call you Mom on video or if...
You can call me Mom.
Okay.
It's okay.
She's Patricia, but she's my mom. What we ended up doing, because I did again want a little bit of a difference. So you can see in this was an original, you know, the original background to this page. I cut it out and then put this is a little lighter version. I didn't want to go full. Again, just trying to save some ink. Put this back behind there. I needed something different, and so that's why I went ahead with that, because you can see, actually, so I had altered it in this, but it wasn't enough. And I wanted that depth. I want you to actually see that there's a layer there, and then came back with strands from the embroidery thread, strands, just the strands, and inlaid it right there, there, and there. I did this one first. Came back because we liked that whole idea and that feel more, because it did reinforce that whole idea of the doorway. That on the other one, I got some washi tape, cut it out with an X-Acto knife because I needed it just to be just so. And that way there's depth there. Wish you guys could feel this, because just the layers on this, I mean, even the edges, this was all printed out to another version of this paper with a more gray, even, I was trying to bring in a little bit more of that green from the thread, because this, obviously, I have it on this side, I have it on this side, and I needed something else to, you know, this is something that we talk about constantly, and I'll let Mom take over on this, is this repetition and making things move around, bringing your eye back into the design. And you do that with the color and the elements, and I'll let her speak more on that.
I just, you know, I see so many really great pages, and I just want to say, you know, you don't have to have everything in there. It's not necessary. You need to leave spaces for people to breathe, to relax a little bit, and especially if you have a very busy focal point, you need to leave that space around. It's air, and it allows your viewer to really rest a little bit before they come back in. And these are the come back ins. These are the pull you back ins. And there's still lots of variety here with your edges that are very soft and organic, but you also have this here which says, you know, I still need you to look here. I'm containing it. It's a bookend within your design. Very, very important.
And that's why we did it on both pages also, so they felt like they belonged together. Scale is another one of those elements that does that constantly. I see so many, and this is what I love about the printables. is I can alter them. You know, not everybody has that skill set or that ability or the software, all these things, but I do, and I make, and it's a very cognizant decision.
Purposeful
Yes.
decision. Also, I think we had 2 or 3 different sizes of this before we really arrived at that this one was going to work. It worked with the space.
Yes.
It didn't make it feel crowded. It made it feel that it belonged there.
Because this is the same as this. I just took that same image and expanded it up. We did some coloring in.
Embossing.
Yes. Which was very tricky. That's why this key was going to be double-sided, but is not. That was
Yeah,
just
FYI. If you emboss one side, the other side, it melts when you're doing.
And I didn't want to do two, like print out 2, and because then we had to flip them because we actually did that. Well, the lock worked out well. What
Because
was it
it's
that we had-
symmetrical.
what did we have to flip? Well, there were a couple of other things because there are more to come on this whole set of stuff on these journal kit.
So we
pages.
have 2 more pages that are in the works.
So we figured out that if you want both sides embossed, you have to print out 2 sides separately, emboss them, then glue them
Separately, and then glue them together.
and then remember that you're going to have to do one side mirrored.
Yes,
You
it's
have to
like
flip
making earrings.
Yeah, it's a. Anyway, so obviously this is another one of Mom's custom. We needed something to bring the pages together and make sense of all of the elements or all of the ephemera. Sorry, I'm such a graphic designer. Like, I'm always elements and assets. Journaling, it's ephemera, and
I'm just learning it also. I'm always saying fancy cutting, and I know now that it's fussy cutting. Right, Mark.
All right. So, anyways, she came up with the quote, the message. I guess it's really message.
Well, I looked, and it wasn't just, I wanted to find a quote by somebody that, was really
Well known.
famous and everybody would recognize who they were, but I couldn't find anything that contained all of the words along with the idea, because I think that's what's really important here, is the idea.
And let me tell you, I originally had printed this out like in 3 lines. Because I thought it was going to, kind of be more of a banner type situation or whatever in 3 different colors. And so I ended up, I wasn't committed to all of that. And this is on very heavy watercolor paper. So it's very tricky to tear. So I took 3 lines and made them into these because I wasn't going to print out another thing and I still wasn't sure that it was going to work. So this was actually a test, and then I'm like, well, that looks pretty good. I like it. And what's nice, because that is thick, fluffy paper, even though you can see the edges on it, bring it up, it still works, because again, with that repetition of so many torn pieces and parts, it works. All right, so talking more about like the layering and bringing you back into things, that's why I love the torn edge. Sometimes I feel like I use it maybe too much, but then I have enough straight edges and things in this that it made sense with the pocket and the screen, or in the doorway. And the doorway leads you into this, and this is why we needed this background. And so I'll let Mom kind of talk about this, which is not totally like the actual artwork.
No, but I'm going to do, I've got this all lined up so I don't have to dig anything out. All right, the T, is it okay if I turn it this way?
Yeah. Oh, well, you can, but it'll be upside down to them.
Okay. All right, the T is Tim, the V is Vicky, and that's Vicky
Bootin.
Booten and Tim Holtz. And the reason I want to talk about this is, and the reason I have to use both, and I'm going to show you very quickly. Vicky, she stays ushy for a long time. Tim, not so much. Now I just did this a while ago. But you can see, once that's been there for a little while, it doesn't go anywhere. You've got to get in there and work it right away. So the reason I use both of them, you can see on this paper, the nice smooshy edges. There aren't any hard edges there. That is because if it was a hard edge, and with the Tim Holtz, I would come back in and go over again with Vicky and smoosh it out, and somehow or other that really works. Also, you can take and you can use watercolor. They are watercolor, they're water soluble. So you can do that. On this particular one, I did not do that. I just used my finger and smooshed them around.
And then Mod Podged it.
And then Mod Podged it because Vicky stays ushy and you don't want her rubbing on other things.
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
Then I took that original art, took a picture of it, brought it in, altered it because it was much darker. Obviously, you can see that these colors here are kind of spot on, but some of the blues and everything were just way, way, way too dark because I knew we were gonna need to get to this point.
and that was
A lot of the blue got covered up, even though we were really working towards that with the wings and everything. But there is some of that blue up here in this corner. We knew that it needed to kind of flow up and again around, up and around. Same thing with our little mothy butterflies. I think they're moths. Mom always calls them butterflies, but they're moths.
Okay, yeah. They have
We
wings.
wanted to, again, reinforce that idea of flight, movement, flying into time, time flies. This is the stuff we think about and talk about in the evenings. I think other people have, I don't know, I used to hang out and talk to my friends all the time, but
Yeah. Oh,
and
there's
there's
our
the end of the video.
2-year-olds.